So this is an absolutely incredible opportunity and a career highlight for me. Borg Warner invited me out here to cover the presentation of the baby Borgs for Joseph Newgarden and Roger Penske, and I got an opportunity today that I never thought I would ever get as a YouTuber covering auto racing, but I got to stand up and get about 5 minutes with the captain himself, Roger Penske. We talked about the future, we talked a little bit about the past and the gratification there is for winning 20 Indianapolis 500s, and I got to ask him a couple of the questions that I've always wanted to ask him, because again, he is the top guy at Penske Entertainment. He is ultimately, everything runs through Roger, and I asked some of those questions, and I hope you'll enjoy the answers. So without any further ado, here's my interview with Roger Penske. All right, this is super special, and a super special night for this gentleman right here, Roger Penske. Of course, you know him as the founder and the chairman of Penske Corporation, which of course owns Penske Entertainment, which owns the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Indianapolis 500. And Roger, you know, Detroit is such a special place to you, and the Indianapolis 500 is such a special event to you. You know, your first 500 was in 1951 when Lee Wallard won, and you know, could you have imagined as a little boy sitting in that grandstand that you would win 20 of these things and have 20 baby Borgs sitting in your house?
Well, I think I've said it earlier that my dad took me there as a young kid. Where do you take your son? And I remember sitting off the fourth turn there and watching the race, and I think I got infected that day about auto racing, and it was part of my DNA ever since, not only the racing but also the automotive business. So, you know, to think we have 20 of these baby Borgs is, you know, to get one is amazing, but to have 20, and guys like Newgarden and Castroneves and Mears and Unzers, all of these guys are special in my mind.
Roger, something that I think is super special about this year and super exciting not only for the series but for the Indianapolis 500 is the transition to Fox Sports. All of the races on network, you mentioned it, the great advertisement with Joseph. I understand there's a few more with other drivers coming. What can we expect that level of promotion to continue through Fox? I mean, how special is that?
Well, when we sat down with Fox, Eric Shanks told me, I'm going to help you make this series. So we set out our criteria, they've added to it, and they've lived up and even more than what we expected. So I think it's going to be terrific, and you're going to see continuation of spots leading up to the series.
That's fantastic news. I know something that the entire industry is excited about, and especially the fans, I think, are excited about, is the new car potentially coming as soon as 2027. What can you kind of share with us about that process and where it is right now, and when fans can start to expect to see some things with that?
Well, we're hoping, we're doing wind tunnel testing now. We're doing engine, looking at our engine. It's about a hybrid version, higher voltage, more power. The chassis will be lighter. The car will be lighter. People are saying it's heavier. Well, it won't be. And we've taken safety as the first criteria, and then it's drivability and obviously performance.
Looking ahead to the future, I know you mentioned that a little bit in your talk, and 2030 will be the moment where you have owned this series and the 500 for 10 years. So, what are some longer-term goals for this series and this race that you'd like to accomplish by the time we hit 2030?
Well, my age, 2030 is a long way off. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. But look, we want to continue to provide our guests that come to this. It's really a traditional, iconic event and generational, really. So we need to continue to provide the best sport, best racing in the world there, and I think we'll look at other types of things we can do with the track, but we really want to keep the 500, you know, the tradition there going forward.
We love to hear that. Roger, I guess one last thing I have for you is one thing that you haven't won yet is the 24 Hours of Le Mans. I know that's something that's very high on your priority list. You're working with Porsche very closely, and how gratifying would it be to get that done this year?
Well, we've got the tools, we got the drivers, and we got the experience. So I can tell you, Porsche's expectations are 100 feet high, so we got a job to do.
An amazing man, an amazing figure in this sport. It's been an honor to speak to you, Roger, and we're looking forward to seeing you fight for 21.
Thank you very much. Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So certainly a lot to break down there. I think one of the biggest things that Roger said during our interview is the fact that the car will be lighter with more horsepower. Now, did we get a whole lot of details past that point? No, but I think that, Roger definitely gave more than I've heard him say in the past, and it was definitely a topic that it seemed like he wanted to talk about, and so it sounds like we're going to get some more information soon. Stay tuned for a video in the very near future where I spoke to a few different drivers talking about the 2027 car as well. There's a lot of different thoughts and a lot of different answers on those sort of things, so, keep in mind what Roger said, and then we'll hear what the driver said, and we'll see if those goals seem to align. But there are some real positives about IndyCar right now. I think we talked about with Roger. It's the Fox deal. The new car coming. I think we're really all looking forward to that, anxiously in my case, but I'm me at the end of the day. But I think at the end of the day, we all want the same thing for IndyCar racing. We want this to be successful. We want it to be the biggest form, at least of open wheel racing in the United States, if not the whole of the United States. And I think there's some steps that can still be taken to get there. But nights like this at least make me feel a little bit more confident, that's for sure. So thank you guys so much for watching. A little bit of coverage, bonus coverage from the Detroit Auto Show tomorrow. It's going to be a really cool opportunity. There's some stuff going on there with the Detroit Grand Prix that we'll be checking out. So stay tuned for that. We'll see you in the next video.
Start a 30-second recap of the Henry Ford. Go.
So we're here at the Henry Ford Museum, and this is one of the best museums I've ever been to. One of the greatest collections of historical artifacts. And
have a baby Borg.
Oh, thank you, Steve. And I feel like my favorite driver is not going to win the Indy 500 anymore now that I'm holding this, but I wasn't expecting to do.
It's an owner's trophy.
Well, it is an owner's trophy, and I guess Ron Hemmelgarn doesn't have a team anymore. Neither does Carl Haas. So you know what? We're good. We're good. This feels really cool, and I've completely forgotten what I was going to say because this trophy has graced me with my presence. The baby Borg, of course. Look at the scale difference between the big Borg. How cool is that? Borg Warner has been such an incredible partner to IndyCar for so long, and this is up there. It might not be as cool as Roger Penske. And Steve,
security's coming. We got to get it back.
Steve has decided that I don't need the trophy anymore. Children can't be trusted with toys for too long. That's too cool. You know what? I was going to say the Henry Ford was the coolest part of tonight. No, that was the coolest part of tonight.